want to be too tired when you're taking a buggery, if you'll pardon the pun.
Yeah.
I'm keeping that one in. No censorship here, no sponsorship, no censorship. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Peachy Podcast episode 10. Shout out to the man, the myth, and the legend. Welcome, Toby. Welcome back indeed. Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you too, mate. How you doing?
Absolutely fantastic. The more better. Now I see your beautiful face on that camera screen. Fantastic to have you in it. So those guys you don't know already, I've dropped my pen. Those guys you don't know already, Toby was actually my last guest back in, I believe, February, sort of March time. As you can tell, I've been so busy since then. I've got Toby straight back on again. So he's my episode 10 guest. Toby's journey started in boxing, where he lost 57 kilos in the space of 7 months. Since then, he's continued to lose a little bit more weight. He's now actually gained muscle as well. And his training has now started to up a little bit more. He's changed gyms. He's changed trainers, his environment's changed, and also now his abdominal training is a lot tougher as well. But we'll get into that. Core, that must hurt. So welcome back, Toby. How's it been since then?
Yeah, it's been really good, mate. Obviously, as you said, training stepped up massively for me now. So working really hard. Got a fight date now, 7th of August, which I'm working towards, which is kind of giving me that bit of extra hunger. And yeah, mate, it's going really, really well. Training's going well. Happy with like the setup at the moment that I've got, and mate, yeah, it's all good for me.
So what's changed since the last time I spoke to you with regards to your training? What have you adjusted to in the gym, inside the ring, and so forth?
So my new gym is very much more of like a ring craft sort of gym, so I'm learning more sort of ring craft and sort of, you know, really working on sort of the skills in the ring as well as out of the ring as well. Gym wise, exercise wise, obviously since last time we spoke, gyms are back open, so I'm able to do more sort of conditioned weight training and sort of more, you know, I've got more equipment to use and stuff, and also I've got a space to train in. I've obviously changed my training routine now recently for coming up to this upcoming fight, where I train at 3 a.m. I have a couple of hours sleep.
Witching hour.
Yeah, then I train, and then I start go to work. I walk or run at lunch. I try and run as much as I can, but some days like the training can be quite hard. If I've got boxing in the evening and I know it's going to be intense, I do sometimes switch it around. Then I'm either doing a hard cardio session or boxing training in the evening. And you know, if I'm doing hard cardio, I normally try and do it for a bit of weights in as well. Again, but yeah, diet's really, really well. So it's allowing me to do that extra training. I'm not feeling fatigued or tired or anything. The body's just very well conditioned to it now over time. You know, it was that sort of baby steps, each step taking it easy and not pushing myself. And, you know, it's like going up a flight of stairs. Next thing you know, you're 6 or 7 stories up without really thinking about it if you're just taking a step at a day. So it's going really well, mate, in short, yeah.
The subconsciousness, isn't it? I think you've trained really well. I think your journey's helped that, and it'll help many other people, as it already has. Yeah. You've trained your subconscious to sort of not even think about doing what you're doing. You just crack on with it, and the results are now coming together.
Yeah, exactly, mate. That's the whole thing. It's that when you really, really don't feel like doing it, just going through the motion of getting yourself up and getting yourself down there. Like this morning was quite hard, and my training partner Ollie will tell you, like when I got into the gym at 3:30 in the morning, like my eyes were half shut. I was there and I just sat there, just kind of like contemplating what I was doing for a moment. and then once we started getting into it, it was all good. And then obviously once we started doing the abdominal training, that's when I definitely woke up, because you know it definitely makes you awake. So you know so it's I'll just go through the motions now. That's literally it. And it's all paying dues. Like exercise is not a like a hard or like a thing for me to do, or like a hindrance anymore. Like it's just a part of life now. And you know, it's part of the journey to do the hard work to kind of get to where I want to be.
Definitely. I think you find as well with your training, as a lot of it comes down to, as you've already mentioned, is mental resilience, isn't it? Because obviously when you're in the ring, you can't really sort of go, I'll take it easy now. You have to sort of always keep the gears up nice and tall, and obviously play smart, but play strong as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, it's all about being able to get in the trenches and work hard. And I'm a fond believer that if you don't push yourself to that limit in training, then you're not going to do it in the ring. I know some trainers and some coaches are very sort of like lax on sort of, you know, their fighters not wanting them to burn out and stuff and that. But, you know, in all fairness, if you don't know what it's like, then how are you gonna do in the ring? You know, when someone's pounding you in the face and you feel knackered and fatigued, how are you gonna pick yourself up and carry on? Obviously, in the smaller bouts, if it's like 3 2-minute rounders like the amateurs and stuff like that, not so much the case. But you know, if you're looking at sort of like 6 threes or 8 threes, like you need to be mentally strong as well as physically strong. Like, so yeah, it's learning to be in the trenches and work hard, mate. That's what I'm doing at the moment.
Definitely. I find as well, the fitter you get, the more. So, for example, like with my own sort of training, when I was sort of training initially, it was not necessarily sort of like technique based. It was more sort of like beasting, you know, smashing the pads, smashing the bag. Obviously, working on a little bit here and there, but obviously where I've changed coaches, it's a lot more technique based. And I find if I'm tired, and obviously my technique just starts to slowly go, and I think that's why it's so important, as you say, to get in the trenches, to dig deep, because when you're in that fight, you don't want your technique to start losing sort of face when, you know, you're fatigued and that. So I think it's so important.
Yeah, well, you know, for well, as soon as you're tired, your hands start dropping, and if you're not conditioned to keep your hands up and stuff, then, or if you're not technically savvy enough to let your hands drop out of range or out you know, to kind of get sort of the relaxation into the muscle, then you know that's when you'll struggle. Like, so you need to kind of learn the ring craft as well. And you're right, you know, there's a lot of coaches and a lot of things where it's just basically like a boxercise class, which has its own elements. And don't get me wrong, mate, I have sessions during the week which is basically like boxercise almost, where it's kind of just loads of punches, loads of running, loads of hitting, loads of stepping, you know, but the real fundamentals have to be kind of broken down and really kind of examined. And then once you get to the point where you know them really well, then like make it harder and make sure that the technique lasts through the duration of your physical, you know, when you're buggered, you can still keep your hands up and throw and move, and especially move.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. You don't want to be too tired when you're taking a buggering, if you'll pardon the pun.
yeah.
I'm keeping that one in. No censorship here. No sponsorship. No censorship. I wanted to ask actually, what changed with the diet? So I know you sort of you went for a phase where you went into a calorie surplus, didn't you, to sort of increase your muscle mass and such. How did that all sort of go?
Yeah, so it went quite well. So I was on about 3,000 to 3,500 calories a day, really pumping the calories into the body, and really kind of like, do you know what? It's actually quite hard. I found it quite difficult. I found it quite difficult eating that much, but the body needed it just because of the weight training initially was quite hard, and you know, it was burning a lot of energy, and it's a burning, you know, I was getting a massive afterburn effect on it, but you know, so needed that. Obviously, as soon as the fight was announced, as soon as it was announced I'll be fighting, the next day I went back into a deficit, just to cut the weight. I don't need to cut as much weight as I thought I need to, because I'm fighting a super heavyweight. So I thought I'd be fighting like a heavyweight and kind of cutting down. Well, in this particular series that I'm fighting in the ICB, I think heavyweight's 95 kilo, and I thought I'd be fighting a 95 kilo. But the guy I'm fighting, I believe, is 105. So there's not too much of strain on me having to kind of deplete myself too much. However, I will still be deficiting as much as possible. I'd back myself going in at 95 and doing the job. But I'm not going to kill myself for like 2 weeks before because I'm overweight for it. I'm just going to go in. I'm just going to coast in whatever weight I feel comfortable at the time. And then once that fight's done, that's when the serious cut will have to go. And I'll probably have to adjust the diet severely then to really cut the weight. One of the biggest things I'm finding hard with at the moment is weight cutting is getting the muscle wastage. The legs. Obviously, my legs are far too big, really, and and I'm working really hard to waste the muscles in the calves and sort of the hamstrings and quads. Hamstrings and quads, the muscle wastage is really good. They're leaning out really well. It's got absolutely monster calves on me though. That's the problem. And
Yeah.
my calves are almost the same size as my bloody like hamstrings and like my shins, bottom half of my legs are the same size as my top half of my leg really at the moment. But yeah, mate. Yeah, it's going well. Obviously, being at a surplus, was good for what it needed. But I do not even lost weight on a surplus as well. I think I lost 2 kilo when I was on a surplus. Well, I wouldn't call it a surplus because I was still at a deficit. It was a massive surplus to what I was having before.
Yeah.
But yeah, the weight was still coming off. I lost 2 kilo over that period, which I think was about a month and a half, 2 months. So not a massive amount of weight, but still, like if you looked at the transformation of like what I looked like and then what I, before and after it, like visually, it was massive, absolutely massive visually how I looked. And again, from then it is visually again massive how I've looked because I've got that muscle base now. Like if you were to take away the fat from me now, like I've got an athletic body, now. Whereas like if you took the fat away from me like 3 months ago, I'd be skin and bones, like, there wasn't really anything to me. But yeah, obviously there's a few things that are a bit like I'm carrying a lot of size in the arms now, which is a bit weird. Like I never thought, but the weird thing about it though as well is like I'm just as like mobile with it. Like they're not a hindrance just because the muscles just been so well conditioned stuff. And also they're quite nice because it means I can protect my sides a bit more with a bigger arm for defense and that. So I'm appreciating it a little bit. I haven't got the So yeah, they're not going to be looping those bloody hooks into the body because they sit the arms like or the elbows.
Canelo ain't getting through those, no.
You will, mate. You will, dude. You'll kill me, wouldn't you? You'll break my face.
Yeah. So that's brilliant. I mean, do you know much about your opponent?
Yeah, I know a bit. I can't talk about it too much because I don't want to jinx anything. I don't want to jinx anything either. I know, and in this game, a lot of people pull out last minute and stuff. And for me, there's the biggest concern for me is some, even if they're a good boxer, like they may be a little bit concerned about the exposure at the moment as well, because obviously I'm probably, for someone that I'll class myself as like a nil bouter like that. I've had 4 charity boxing matches, but I'm not necessarily that well known for boxing, but got quite a big following now, and I've got quite well known by like professionals and amateurs and sort of like trainers like across the country. So my biggest concern is them going, oh, actually, there's going to be a few people watching this. There's going to be a few people with their eyes on me. I don't fancy it. So yeah, I'm not gonna talk about it as much as people probably think I am. Just because 1, I don't want to jinx it. 2, he might pull out and I might have someone else. And 3, like I want an opponent. I want to fight. So I don't want people going off. I can't be dealing with the aggro, or like this guy's a bit lively and he's got all these other people chirping up. I don't want that. I want respect for the opponent that's fighting me from the start, sort of thing. But confident in what I can do. Trainer's confident in me as well, and we'll get the job done. We'll get the job done. But it's quite an important fight for me, in all honesty. This first fight will kind of pave the way for everything else. So the pressure's on me pretty big, in all fairness, to perform. If I don't perform, then yeah, it could be a bit embarrassing. Like if I lose but I perform well, then I'm not too fussed. But if I look a bag of shit, then yeah, I may as well hang up the gloves.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I get exactly what you mean there. It's a lot of pressure, isn't it? Do you know much about are you wearing head guards for this bout? Is it a certain weighted sort of glove?
No head guards, 12-ounce gloves. So Yeah, it's
Somebody's
good.
getting knocked out.
Yeah, someone's
So
getting
I was
knocked
just
out.
paraphrasing Eddie Hearn there.
Yeah, someone's getting knocked out. I'm well, with the training, I'm pretty powerful at the moment. I'm landing heavy. I'm hitting heavy and fast. So yeah, with 12-ounce gloves on, mate, it's gonna be fun. I've never fought with 12-ounce gloves on before, and I don't even wear 12-ounce gloves when I train. Like,
No.
I don't do pad work with 12-ounce gloves like most people. I do everything with 16s.
Mm.
So, and then when I'm training and doing shadow boxing, I'm carrying weights in my hands, and I'm doing everything with weighted. So the thought of having 12-ounce gloves, that like my hand speed's good with the 16s. Like, I'm thinking if we put 12s in my hands, mate, there'd be trouble. Yeah, there'd be trouble. I can't wait, mate. Can't bloody wait.
British Andy Ruiz coming out.
Yeah, mate. Well, to be fair, I'm a lot lighter than him now, mate. So.
Yeah. I just remember that being your handle. I don't know if it still is on your Instagram.
It's on my my gear, and I haven't put it on my fight shorts. I've ordered my fight shorts this morning for the season. I haven't put it on the fight shorts. Main reason being I didn't want to upset him, or also get fed back that people are taking the piss. But I will be known as Caucasian Andy Ruiz Jr. At some point I'll get to the point where people can respect calling me it, if you get what I mean, rather than me just be a bit of a prick about it. So
Yeah.
but yeah, it's it's still deep, mate. Well, like me and Kane always say, we always say, we're fat men at heart. I'm a fat man at heart. I'll always be a big guy, even if I'm in very good shape. You won't. I'll still, but my mates will still call me fat man. That's just the way it'll always be. And that's just, I just got to take it as it is, really.
Mm. I was about to say, speaking of Kane, because I watched your live Instagram footage of you sparring Kane and such, and I thought it was quite nice to see. It was quite interesting. Obviously, the phone kept flipping off and stuff, but that's going to happen. But it was good to see you have a little move around, and it was quite nice to see sort of the difference in weight. Obviously, it was quite significant. I believe 40 kilos, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, Kane's a lot smaller than me, even after his fights, when he's indulged on for the Sundays and burgers and stuff. He's still a lot lighter than me. So, but yeah, no, it was really good, mate. Obviously, Kane's seen me progress from the start to there, and he's always going to be a big part of my journey, regardless of how far I go or what I do. He'll always be a big part of my journey, and we've got ambitions of where I want to go and what I want to do. And I'm a very fond believer of you stick people that see the potential in you at the start and look after you at the start, and through your journey, loyalty's key, and he'll be with me for depending how far. If I go further, then he'll definitely be with me. If not, if I do get knocked about and it's not for me as such, then I'm sure we'll still stay in touch and still do a lot of things. But to me, that's not an option at the moment. It is purely going to be going there, smashing it up. The goal has always been to become a pro boxer, and that will always remain the goal. That is my world title, is getting a pro boxing license and fighting as a pro. Anything else from there is a bonus. So yeah, I'm just happy to be involved, mate. That's literally what it'll be. I'm just happy to be here, so. And it'll be that case even with sort of the boxing on sort of the ICB. I'm just happy to be there. I'm sure people are happy to have me there as well. But for me, last September, they wouldn't have looked at me. People wouldn't have wanted me on their shows and stuff. Whereas now it's well, yeah, I get the calls. I get often asked, "Oh, can you come and do you fancy being on this show? Do you fancy doing that?" And it's well, it's not my choice; it's my trainer's choice what I'm doing. But thanks for the offer, mate.
Yeah, well, I think that's what's really good as well. Is your stories. It's a refreshing story, because even for my own sort of weight loss journey, I found boxing because amongst I think I mentioned this in the previous podcast, but I found boxing quite late myself. I was always a fan of it, but I never did it. And I used it as a weight loss journey purely based on the fact that it was kind of like a masculine sport. And obviously, whenever I chose to lose weight previously, it was almost like people would say, instead of saying, "Oh, you've lost weight," it's, "Oh, you stopped training." So nowadays, obviously, with that sort of side of things, with boxing, it's just such a great sort of a role model to have. You know, someone who's lost weight through that particular sport, and then obviously a lot of people are getting more interested or engagement in the sport itself.
Yeah.
People are just becoming fitter and happier, and it's just through this one thing that we do. You know, boxing's, who would have thought, you know, punching someone square in the face and getting punched back is seen as such a positive influence nowadays.
Yeah, exactly, mate, exactly. And you know, it's one of them as well with boxing. It's as you said, it's like I don't see it as a scrap. Like I don't see it as like a fight. Although you would call it a fight or a fighting, you know, it's a sport to me. It is literally a sport, and I'm competitive as hell, mate. Like, you know, forget it being a fight and kind of getting that sort of like adrenaline rush of like, oh, I'm gonna fight, and then you know they go stiff as a board. I'm in there for a sport, mate. My sport is jabbing your face off, like, you know. And then if I see the open, you get knocked out, like, and that's my sport. So yeah, it's great, mate. Like, but you are right. Some people, like for me now, like my body composition is completely different to what it was, and people would be like, "Oh, bloody hell, what are you doing?" Especially if they saw me like a couple of months ago, they would be like, "Oh God, you're looking just like a, you know, you've got a bit of a like a like a skinny fat man sort of thing." That's kind of what I was going towards. If I can continue to what I was doing weight like journey wise, probably be the case. Obviously now, like I am looking more athletic, just with a bit more cuddliness at the moment still. But yeah, mate, boxing's brilliant. You know, it's done a lot for me. It's already, without even me getting in the ring properly, it's done a lot for me already. Changed my life, changed my sort of mindset and that as well.
I think that's definitely it. I mean, there's one thing I wanted to touch upon as well is obviously not only have you got your own nutrition program out, which has worked really well and helps a lot of people from what you've told me and from what I've seen. But you've also got a weight loss seminar, haven't you, with Kane coming up soon in the gym. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so obviously myself and Kane have both had a similar journey where, you know, I had a food addiction. I'd admit that I was addicted to food. You know, I was in a bad place, depressed, etc., and suffering with sort of illness, of like physical illness from depression, really. And you know, although being undiagnosed, it was pretty obvious that was the case. I'd had everything else like tested for, which I didn't have, and the symptoms were very, very clear of what it was. Kane's obviously come from a position where he's had to lose a load of weight, changed his life, etc. And you know, we are both almost like addicted to living life and being happy. Boxing is a big part of both our lives, and I think out there's a lot of people see overweight men as kind of like a cash cow more than sort of like, you know, someone they want to help. So, you know, you look at sort of people with the food industry, it's like they want to fill in full of fast food, and then the weight loss side, they want to go, here's a magic pill that's going to cost you £50, which doesn't work. And then you go, oh, try this new protein shake diet, which is going to cost you £30 a month, which won't work. And I was a sucker for that cycle as well. You know, I tried every single fad diet in the world, mate, every single one. None of them's worked. And if they did work for a while, as soon as you went off it, you just ballooned straight back up. And that's what me and Kane just want to go there and help these people and basically say, look, it is habit. It's about consistency and habit and stuff like that. You know, fighting the urges, finding your goals, and kind of achieving what you need to achieve. And that's kind of what I preach, really, mate. Like, there's no fad diets about it. There's nobody like, you know, you must, you know, there's no like counting points or like anything like slim fast or anything like that. It's all like bloody Weight Watch. It's not that sort of crap. It's purely just like find your life, find your skills, find what you want to do, and find your goals, work out how you're going to achieve them, and you'll tend to find that like becoming, you know, your diet will become quite easy then. Once you know what you need to do, and you got to kind of like learn to be like motivate yourself a little bit as well. I think, you know, and you'll know from sort of a PT setting that a lot of people struggle to get their own motivation, and like they kind of have to rely on other people to motivate them a little bit. And for me, like my motivation is solely my own. And I think if you've that's the other thing I'll touch on as well, is people that rely on, like, say for example, you go into the gym with one of your pals, and then like 10 minutes before you go to the gym, your mate goes, "Oh, sorry mate, I can't make it." Like, a lot of people are like, if he's not going, I'm not going. Like, whereas for me, I think I touched on this before, like, that is my own workout, that is my session. Like, that person is joining me on my session. So if they're not going, I'm still going. Like, that's just the way I am. And that's kind of the other way I think I'm trying to preach to a lot of these lads, because, you know, especially if you're not very confident in the gym, and, you know, I do get a lot of lads that message me about gym anxiety and stuff like that, which, you know, it is a major thing. Like, you can get like the lads that are in like the best shape, and even girls are in fantastic shape, still anxious what people, because there's so many judgy people in some gyms, so they're still anxious about what people are saying or behind their back or looking at them and stuff like that. Obviously some lads and ladies don't help themselves with what they're wearing in the gym, but like, it is what it is. You just got to kind of you know, you find your confidence somehow. Like, I don't really care what I look like, in all fairness. I think I've been pretty clear about that. You know, in a video this morning, I showed like I've got a lot of loose skin around the belly, and it's like, you know, it's not gonna stop me on my ability in boxing. But it may, you know, it may not look good when I'm on the beach on holiday, but I'm not doing it for that. It's all functional. It's all functionality for me. As long as I'm functional, I'm fit, and I'm happy, because you know, I'm not out there trying to get the next, you know, my next wife sort of thing. You know, I'm there in the
You're not
gym.
going to be on Love Island anytime soon, no?
No, I don't think I do not. I think my chat's too good for Love Island. I think I'll just be too funny, and like, I'm just not like a bloody. I'm not sort of like a blank canvas which you can go, "Mate, say this line," and they're like, "Oh, I'll just repeat what people say to me because I haven't got a personality." Like, I'd go in there and just rinse them all. Like, I'd be probably like a. Is that Bet? Is it? I don't watch Love Island, but I remember there's a guy that was on there. Was it Bear? A few years back.
Nah, he was on Big Brother, but yeah.
I thought he was on Love Island as well, weren't they?
I might have been. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've only watched series 2 up
And
to now.
and he was just an absolute cretin. He wasn't, you know, he didn't have the best rigor or anything like that. He was just there, just like taking the piss and having a laugh. And
Yeah.
they probably didn't make good TV because he was just like a joker. And probably people that Love Island, but no, mate, he's a bit weird. He's a bit of a knob. That's what people would be like with me. So
I'd definitely play up to the cameras, that's for sure. I'd be even weirder, like, than ever before. Just, I'd creep people out, I think. I'd be on like one of those, you know, like those little tasks they set you in the Big Brother house. I'd be on one of those, but they haven't set me anything. I'd just do it just purely to see reaction. We talk about binge eating. I think binge eating needs to be spoken up more often. I think I've got a binge eating issue. I mean, unfortunately, I train quite a lot, so I can kind of get away with it. And obviously with my genetics, I don't really put on weight very easily anyway, but I think it's something that's a massive pandemic amongst, especially our generation, more so than anything. It's so easily done, and comfort eating is such a like subconscious thing nowadays that people don't even realize they're doing it.
Do you know what? I reckon comfort eating's brought into a lot of us from sort of like our parents. I think a lot of us as kids were like fed. Oh, we'll keep them quiet. We'll give them some Milky Buttons. You know, we'll keep them quiet. We'll give them this. But I think it's just one of those things. You know, I think you all like comfort eating so big because I think we're just, you know, as kids, it's like, oh, keep them quiet, give them a bloody this, keep them quiet, give them that. Oh, they're crying, give them some chocolate. Like, and I think that's probably, you know, that's kind of probably one thing. But mate, binge eating and stuff like that, that used to be my real problem. So like, even when I was like bigger, before I started my journey, like I'd be good for like a week, and then it'd be like, right, oh, I've had enough. Like, gonna get a load of chocolate in, gonna get a couple of pizzas in, gonna like get loads of like drinks in and stuff like that, and just get absolutely like, you know, just sit there in like a coma of food. And you're kind of reversing what you're doing. It touches on a little bit to like people that do the do fasting. Now, I've done a bit of fasting during my weight loss, and it's so easy to fast for 24 hours and then literally in that sitting of you broke fast, eat 3,000 calories. You're just so hungry and you're like, oh, I've missed all this food and stuff like that. But it's so counterproductive. And you're basically just feeding that binge eating monster that kind of can just like stock up all this food. But yeah, it's one of them, mate. I can sympathize for anyone that does it. And you know, with people with food addictions and stuff, it is hard. I think the main thing is, and what I say to people before they kind of do any sort of like weight loss thing is like, just start tracking what you're eating like normally. So like that week before you decide you're going to do it, just like be subconsciously knowing how much shit you're putting in your body. Like, oh, I'll have a Mars bar with my break, 250 calories. Okay, all right. Oh, I'll go out for lunch. I'll have an extra side. That's an extra 150 calories. You know, kind of just like count all those bits out, and then you realize actually, bloody hell, like then you look at like what you've had compared to what you really need, and you go, wow, like if I just make those small changes and I drop all them, you know, I can drop 1,000 calories a day, which is 7,000 a week, which is 2 pounds of fat. And that's kind of like the way I get, yeah, that's the way I see it is. And that's the way I done it. It was going, right, what can I drop out this next week? Or I can drop out that, because if I drop that out, that is, you know, 150 calories a day over 7 days. You know, that's quick math, 1,050 calories, and it's like that's quite a lot of calories from dropping out sort of a small amount from one day.
Yeah,
and that's the way I did it really, and I think that's kind of the way it really, you know, it's a good way to calculate it, because it is hard. It is hard dieting, mate. And everyone's got an opinion on diets as well. I found that massively at the moment. Like whatever I'm doing, someone's got an opinion about it. Like my training, so getting up at 3 a.m. to train, and then sleeping, and then work, and then train, like running, and then sleep it, you know, then working, then sleeping, then train. Like someone, you know, people are saying to me like, oh yeah, but oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. That's not right for you. And it's like, no, you don't like the idea of it because you don't like the idea of it. Like it works and it's working. Like, and you know, sometimes you just got to be like, right, you're telling me I'm wrong. Like, look how far I've come. Like, look how far I'm doing it. And obviously, you know, touching on sort of the confidence thing, like obviously, you know, I'm confident about what I'm doing and what I'm preaching and what I'm saying. And because I've lived it, you know, there's no arrogance involved in it. I'm purely just confident in where I am and what I'm doing. And I'm confident in sort of every part of like my training, you know, the boxing, etc. and stuff like that. You know, my boxing will do the talking shortly. At the moment, in all fairness, I didn't expect it, but I'm almost like a bloody weight loss and mental health advocate more than I'm a boxer. The boxing is kind of a side part of it, really. And sort of an end goal, which people are obviously going to follow the journey on from. But it is what it is, mate. Like I think that, you know, it's a long journey, and you know, there's a lot involved, and there's a lot of changes, and you know, things do change, and things are changing regularly. Diet's changing, training's changing, everything, you know, my thoughts on certain things are changing a lot as well, like, you know, certain plans, certain diets, etc. Like you had said to me sort of like 10, 12 months ago that about keto, I'd been, oh yeah, keto's brilliant, yeah, best thing ever, you'll drop loads of weight. You ask me now, I call it the wedding dress diet. Like literally I call it the wedding dress diet, because what will happen is if someone says to me, oh, I need to lose two I want to drop 2 dress sizes in 2 months. I go, if you really, really want to do it with like not a great deal of effort, go on a keto diet. But as soon as you look at a piece of pasta, you'll put on 4 stone. Like you'll literally put on loads of weight. and that a lot of people do that. A lot of people go, oh yeah, and then but then they'll preach about the keto and stuff like that. But they'll preach about it once they've like got big again. It's like, oh yeah, it was really good. It's like, well, it clearly wasn't that good because you're back big again. Like it's yeah.
They've not trained their subconscious there.
Yeah,
That's what that is, isn't it?
yeah, it's training as a context, it's getting out of habits as well. Like, you know, I think I touched on it in the last podcast. I was at like a month or so away from, you know, getting a consultation to get weight loss surgery. It was that close, and I think if I looking back at it now, I think if I'd done that, it'd probably been the worst idea ever because I wouldn't have lost the habits. I would have put the weight straight back on. It would have been like it would have been that magic pill, you know, that everyone looks for to lose weight, and it doesn't change you. It doesn't change your mental ability to control yourself and control your habits and control, you know, your food emotions and your emotional eating and you know and stuff like that. Like it doesn't do that. It just basically puts a stopper on it, and you'll break that stopper one day, and you'll be back to normal. So yeah, the mental side of it and the diet is huge for me. There's no quick fix either, um, and you just got to persevere and just. I say this to everyone: like, it's just consistency. You literally just got to be consistent. Like every day has to have an element of a step up or like a level up. Where you have to go every day. You go, that was a good day because I've done this. Like that's why for me it's really good for me to get my exercise in early in the morning because I know full well whatever happens in the day, like if I can't exercise this evening or you know something happens, I'm like, well, I've made a step in a positive direction because I've gone to the gym, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this. So everything else is a bonus now. Um, so yeah, that's another reason why I go early is because I can kind of live my life without worrying too much about fitting other exercise in as well.
I was about to touch upon that actually. Your 3 a.m. training, witching hour training. I think that's a really good take on it. I think, you know, as you say, you've got no obstacle once you've got that part out of the way. One, you're starting off the day winning because you've achieved something, you've got that goal, so you know, you've taken one more step towards your goal. And obviously, secondly, you haven't got that obstruction, and I think that's really important. And I think thirdly as well, and you already know this, but you're training your subconscious, and you're obviously persevering amongst sort of adversity. Because I can imagine getting up at 3 a.m. or even before then, it's like you're getting up and going, oh God, and there might be some days where you're like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
But then you do it, and it's
I,
amazing.
I'll tell you what. So yesterday, this morning was hard for me. Like I had boxing training last night, felt a bit foggy from it as well, and got up and I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Like literally got out of bed. I was running a little bit late as well. I messaged the lad. I was like, right, you do your cardio. I don't need to do the cardio. I'm burnt out from well, not burnt out, but like I've done my fair share of cardio over the last day.
Yeah.
I'm doing cardio later tonight. So you do go on the bike. I'll see you in a sec. And I got into the gym and literally I just sat down for about 2 or 3 minutes, just contemplating what I was doing there. Like, and then as soon as I got into the swing of it, it was fine. And then by the end of the session, I was like, this is brilliant. I feel really good now. And that's what it's all about. Like, it just releases those good endorphins and it gets it out early and stuff. And, you know, it's a bit weird because now I get home for like 5 o'clock and it's nice and sunny outside. And I'm like, well, I've got to go to bed for 2 hours now, like 2.5 hours. But yeah, it is it isn't an easy way of training. It really isn't. But the transformation since I've been doing it speaks for itself. I don't think that I have to defend it that much because it doesn't need defending. Like it works. Like it's a no-brainer. Like, I can train 3 times a day with relative ease.
Would you say your quality of sleep's better now as well?
Very, very sort of like bam, deep sleep, recovery, wake up, feel good, bam. So people are saying to me, oh, you're not having your REM sleep. Well, I do because believe it or not, I do actually sleep for about 6 hours in one period as well. You know, when I go to bed at about 10 o'clock and I wake up about 9, well, it depends on training. If it's a non-training evening, like boxing, because boxing's on quite late, and obviously driving back, the days that I train for the boxing, probably sleep for about 4 hours and then wake up, and then 2 hours, and then I have like 2 hours or an hour before I go and train again. So I'm still having sort of 7 hours sleep throughout the day, which if you told me you had 7 hours sleep a night, people would be, oh, that's a good amount of sleep, that is, mate. That's decent. Because it's spread out, people are like, oh, mate, you're not sleeping enough. So, well, I am, mate. I am sleeping enough. Yeah, but you're not sleeping for a long period and getting, these benefits. It's like, well, like the benefits of like recovery and stuff like that. It's like, well, I am, mate, because my body's pretty recovered. I could train 3 times a day, wake up and go again and do exactly the same. So I think recovery is not a problem, pal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you say as well, it's that deep sleep. That's where your body sort of really fully starts to recover and starts to break down everything. And a lot of people, and I'd say probably the majority, I mean, I'm throwing a ballpark figure at it, but 90% of the UK doesn't get sufficient sleep with regards to its broken sleep. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, for example, like when you go out, like, I don't know, say you go out on the lash, you have one too many beers. When you go to sleep, you're not actually going to sleep, you're just passing out. And that's why when you wake up, even after 12 hours of being out cold, you're still tired because you just didn't go for a deep sleep. It's just broken and interrupted. But for myself, I'd say I have probably, as you say, 6 hours good quality sleep, but probably about 1 or 2 hours where I either wake up in the middle of the night or I sort of, you can tell you've not drifted off as well. What's your pre-sleep routine like? Do you just go straight to sleep, straight to bed, and that's that?
Yeah, so after this, I'll go and have a kip. Obviously, I've been quite busy this morning. The plan was would have normally been to have sort of a sleep after I dropped the miss off at work, but I've had a few bits on this morning prior to speaking to yourself as well. So I haven't had that sleep yet. So I will be probably conking out for an hour or 2 hours this like early afternoon before I go to the gym, and then but I'll wake up and I'll feel amazing. But all it is basically going, now's the time, get into the bed, bam, sleep, go. Sometimes on the sofa with the dog, 9 times out of 10 in the bed. We got two bedrooms here, so I've been using the spare room when I come home from training so I don't disturb the missus. Also, as well, that room's quite cool and quiet, so like I go in there and it is a very deep sleep when I'm in that room. Like it's really nice, proper recovery sleep it is. I can lay in there for an hour and feel amazing when I come out. So, yeah, mate, it's the sleep. Like, obviously you need it, but people, I think it's an easy cop out to be like, well, I need to have this, and if I don't have this, that's why, and this is the excuse why I can't do this. But it's like the whole thing for me is like people when they're working out and about and on the road, there's always that, oh, well, I'm on the road, so, and the only thing I can see is the Golden Arches, so that's what I've got to have for lunch, mate. I can't have anything else. I literally cannot stop anywhere else apart from McDonald's for food. It's like, well, you can, mate. You're just choosing to stop there, and that's why part of the sort of the life plan I've given people, because it's not a diet plan as such. It's like a life plan where it tells about the goals, setting goals, rules to kind of that I followed. It's basically my plan. It's what I did. Like, so it's tried and tested. It's what I did for like the first like 4 to 5 months of my journey, was basically follow that down to a T until it had to be developed more into sort of like an athletic program, really. And yeah, it's like going, well, if you are going out and about, there is such thing as a healthy meal deal. Like you can actually go to a shop and get a healthy meal deal. Like where if you made it at home, you go, bloody hell, mate, this is well healthy, this food is. Like just because you're buying it from a shop, like the thing that makes buying things from a shop unhealthy is your choices in the shop, not the bloody shop, not buying it pre-packaged, not buying it on the road. So people just need to use their heads a little bit with that, really. And I think once it's amazing how many people don't really know that like you can actually just buy like, as a meal deal, you can buy a wrap, some boiled eggs or a bit of like satay chicken, and either a no calorie soft drink or a bottle of water, and you're looking at like 500 calories for a meal, like which is pretty good. Like
sometimes half a meal at McDonald's, isn't it?
yeah,
Sometimes McDonald's like 1,000.
yeah, well, you're talking probably the fries at McDonald's is probably 500 calories for a large fries, and it's like you're having a whole meal there. And if you really want to like make it more filling, you can have two boiled eggs. And, they're about 140 calories for two boiled eggs. If you have like a dip in that with them as well, like it's just it feels like it's easily accessible. It's just people just need to understand those choices, and we're so consumed in that sort of ideology of like, yeah, but oh, the chippy's open and like I daren't go into the Tesco and get the meal deal because that's hard work, and we're walking into that chippy and getting a large portion of chips is really easy. And then using that excuse, oh, why did you have chips? Oh no, I needed lunch, mate. I was out on the road. It's like, yeah.
Society's become a little bit consumeristic, consumerist, I think, as well. I think through technology and stuff, like where it's so easy to literally swipe at something and it takes a couple seconds as opposed to actually making a call and stuff. We've become quite consumerist. But I think even like, and I think I mean, I use your example of a few trainers as well. Because I remember once you went out with a meal with your friends, they all had chips, kebab and that. And you had kebab, but you had it with all this beautiful green, sort of leafy green sort of vegetables and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was actually appealing. And I've done that with my own sort of food sometimes, where I've got a chicken kebab, but I've had loads of like veggies with it. And it's not only good easy on the eye, it's more fulfilling. You know what I mean? So people need to look at that as well, don't they?
Yeah. That's the whole thing. There's like, if you go to places like that, if the last place on earth is that you can go for food is McDonald's, there's nowhere else open, and you need to eat, you can go to McDonald's and get a healthy meal. Like you can do it. Like you can get a bloody like a grilled chicken wrap from McDonald's. It's it's just because it is healthy to a certain extent. Like you can do it. Like for me, like yeah, the grilled chicken meat from the chicken kebab meat in the salad. That's just me being able to be inclusive with like work and kind of doing it. And it is probably a little bit high calorie just because of the chicken meat. Obviously, it's like doused in sauces and stuff like that. But it's better than having a load of chips with it, and there's a load of salad with it as well, and it works out being quite good, to be fair. But yeah, it's sensible choices, but no one can make those sensible choices for you. You've got to make them yourself, and it's training the brain. It's training the brain to make them. And like, let's be fair, mate. Like, you go there, you do that, and you have that. And is everyone else eating chips around you? It's just as satisfying, isn't it? Like, it really is. It's just as satisfying. Like, if anything, like you're the only one like 3 hours later, which isn't feeling like the bloody like the bowels are exploding from bloody all of the carbs and meat they've just had, and all the grease that's just been like consumed within the bloody chips as well. Like, it's a bit like if you go into like a Witherspoons, you don't have to have the big burger and chips. You can have a wrap from there. You can have some like chicken wings from there. It's not that bad. It is just purely people's like laziness or like ideology of things, which kind of makes their choices poor. But yeah, if you break it down, you look at everything, you can always find a better option. Always find a better option.
Definitely. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to finish there. Before we finish, obviously, I want to reiterate. I mean, I believe I might have said this earlier on in the podcast, but my memory fails me. The fight itself. So it's 12-ounce gloves, no head guards, and in the words of Eddie Hearn, somebody's getting knocked out.
Yeah.
Confident?
Yeah, mate. Very confident. Yeah. Obviously, no stone unturned for me, mate. Literally, boxing will do the talking. I'm very, very confident myself. I'm very, very confident in the training I'm doing. I don't think anyone could train as hard as me. The only thing is, mate, is if he's more talented than me, if he's got the talent more talent than me, then so be it. However, has to be fucking talented to overcome how much hard work I'm putting in. So, yeah, 12-ounce gloves, I'm hitting hard, I'm hitting fast, I'm hitting well. Someone's getting knocked out, and if they are getting knocked out, it's not me. It's fucking him.
Definitely, definitely. Where can we watch this fight?
So, if tickets are available to buy in from well, the fights in Derby and on the ICB card, you can buy the live stream. Myself and a load of my stablemates are fighting on that card as well, so you'll see a lot of up and coming lads from our gym as well as myself. It should be a good night with it. But yeah, I think it's about £13, including the booking fees and stuff for the live stream. Once it's fully confirmed and it's all good, you know, as long as Boris doesn't mess us about, I will put up links to the live stream on my Instagram and stuff for people to get involved and watch. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I wasn't pushing for it to get a crowd there at all, but I think a few people are coming to watch me, which is quite nice. And then obviously the next one will be a bigger crowd for me. I want a fight at home, a load of people, you know, home crowd for me. We'll get all the boys together, like
all the boys down. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, brilliant, mate. Well, look, I'm going to love you and leave you. I've had a pleasure having you on again for Peachy Podcast episode 10, back to back, as they say.
Pleasure, mate. My pleasure.
Guys, if you want to follow Toby, if you haven't already on Instagram, his Instagram handle is @obesitoboxer, Toby Vermeire. So feel free to follow him, and we'll see you guys in the next one. God bless, and peace.
Take care.
Didn't know I had you in my heart. Tell me that we'll never be apart.
Me and her 10 been talking for weeks. She from South and I come from Leeds.